Elise here at Bowman Library with a whole new middle grade book spotlight. So before we exactly dive into our theme for this week, I do have to give you a little bit of background so you totally understand what exactly and how awesome these books are. So here in the state of Virginia, we have a program called Virginia's Reader's Choice. And it started all the way back in 1981. And the goal is to encourage you all to read. And what happens is there are different lists. There's 10 books chosen every single year that are amazing. And there's like the primary list, which are like picture books. And we have some elementary, which are like some chapter books. And we have some middle grade ones. And then there's a young adult list. And the goal is we want you to read as many of those 10 books as possible, because in order for a book to win this award, you all get to vote, and the book out of those 10, the one that gets the most votes, is the Virginia Reader's Choice Award winner for that year. That is like the best book that all of you in Virginia has chosen. It has like basically amazingness, okay? So all the way back in 1981 this started. So what we're going to take a look at today is the 6 books we're going to talk about all won Virginia Reader's Choice Awards the year they were nominated. So these 6 books were the best of the best books of their year, which means that they're pretty much awesome, and you can bet they're awesome because like kids like you voted that they were awesome. So you don't even have to just trust me that they're great. They won like an award that was voted on by other kids just like you. So let's take a look at them. Our first one is called One of the Murphys. So Carly has not had the easiest childhood, and at 12 years old, she is placed into foster care when her stepfather beats her and her mother up. So bad to the point where her mother ends up in the hospital. She's placed with the Murphy family, and she's determined that she is going to hate them just because like she is so angry and sad about what is going on in her life. She doesn't want to deal with a new family, but that soon starts to be a really hard task to accomplish because they are easygoing, they're loving, they accept her, they make her feel welcome, and she soon starts to realize they look at her as part of their family. She even starts to make friends at her new school, which is something that she didn't expect to do at all, and they soon start to think of her as their daughter. When her mother recovers, though, and she starts to go through the process to get Carly back, Carly doesn't know what she wants to do. I mean, like her mother, she loves her mother. It's her mother, but she's also fallen in love with the Murphy family, and she feels like she's a part of their family. And for the first time ever, she actually feels like she belongs somewhere. I don't want to ruin what happens at the end because it's something you have to read. It's just so good. But if you love heartwarming, realistic stories, and it's, but are filled with choices and leave you wondering what would you do, this one is an awesome choice. This is one for the Murphys. No More Dead Dogs by Gordon Corman. If you know anything about Gordon Corman, you know you are getting a humor-filled story. So Wallace is all about playing football and telling the truth. His father lied all of the time, and that led to his parents getting a divorce. So Wallace decides he is never going to lie. Most of the time that seems to work out, but this one time it actually gets him into pretty big trouble when he's asked to write a book report about a book with a dog in it, and he was assigned to read it, and he didn't really want to, but he read it, and he was brutally honest in his book report, calling it the worst book he has ever read, and when asked about it, his attitude leads him in detention. But his detention is not your typical scenario that he's going to go sit in a classroom after school and do nothing. Instead, he is forced to attend rehearsals of the drama club. And the drama club, for their production for the school year, has decided to take that same book that Wallace read and decided was the worst book ever, and they are turning it into a play. And he is stuck there watching them do this. Also, to make matters even worse, because Wallace is in detention, that means he cannot play football, and his team is depending upon him. He's one of the best players, and they have a game coming up, and things start to happen, and the play starts to get kind of sabotaged, and people start to blame the football team because everyone knows they really want Wallace to play, and it's going to be up to Wallace to determine what's going to happen in this, because the choice is going to be completely up to him. Filled with humor and real life scenarios, you will totally be able to relate to Wallace. This is no more Dead Dogs. The Dead Man in Indian Creek. So best friends Matt and Parker decide they want to get in one last camping trip before the weather gets too cold for the rest of the year. And they head out to their favorite spot, which is right next to Indian Creek. When they get there though, they get more than what they bargained for, because they find a dead man's body in the creek. Parker thinks he knows who it is. He thinks it's his mom's new boyfriend, Mr. Evans. And he decides he wants to get to the bottom of it because no one's going to believe him. So he enlists Matt's help because that's what best friends do. And they decide they're going to figure out what exactly is going on here. But they accidentally kind of stumble upon an even greater crime occurring in their town, and they find themselves having to be on the run as the bad guys are right on their tails, because they do not want Matt and Parker to share what they have seen, and they will do anything they have to in order to make sure they do not tell what is going on. This suspenseful mystery will leave you turning the pages as fast as you can, because you will want to know what happens with Matt and Parker. This is Dead Man in Indian Creek. Walk to Moon. So Salamanca, or otherwise known as Sal, is 13 years old, but her mother just ups and leaves Sal and her father and tells them that she is going on a spiritual quest. She promises to return, but as days kind of turn into weeks, she does not. So Sal's grandparents decide that they are going to travel from Ohio to Idaho, and they are going to find out what happened to their daughter and Sal's mother. And to just, make the journey a little bit easier, because they're going to be in the car for 6 days, they decide to bring Sal along with them. So as they're in this car ride, Sal decides to entertain her grandparents with a story about her new friend Phoebe, whose mother has also gone missing. As they get closer to the destination, Sal starts to realize how similar her story is to Phoebe's, and her grandparents start to open up and share more about Sal's mother, more than Sal ever knew, helping Sal to deal with her own emotions about her mother. If you like a good realistic story, and I will tell you this one can be a little complicated at times, so just be aware. But there's also kind of a twist at the end that will probably surprise you. This one is highly recommended. Okay, I think one of our all-time favorites. I know a ton of you have read this one, but I had to share it just in case someone has it, because it was an award winner as well. This is The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. If you have seen the movie, you need to read the book, because the movie does not live up to this book. So life starts to get really crazy for Percy Jackson when he turns 12 years old. He starts to see these crazy monsters, and they're trying to attack him, and he needs to basically run for his life. His mother brings him to this mysterious camp called Camp Half-Blood in order to keep him safe. And it is there that he finds out that he is really a demigod. So he's half human, half Greek god, because his father is really the Greek god Poseidon. So fast forward, Percy and some of his new friends from the camp are set out on a quest, and they need to be successful, because if they are not, then there is going to be an epic war between these Greek gods. But that naturally is easier said than done. If you love Greek mythology, action, adventure, humor, then you need to read this book immediately and get ready to read the rest of the series, because you will want to know, as soon as you are done with this one, what is going to happen. There are 5 books total, and there are a couple of spin-offs that have some of these characters as well, so there are plenty of there for you to read. This is The Lightning Thief. And our last one for today is Hatchet. One of the original adventure survival stories for middle grade readers. This one is so good. This is about 13-year-old Brian, and Brian finds himself flying to the Canadian wilderness to visit his father, and he is in a small 2-passenger plane. It is him and it is the pilot. Those are the only people in this little plane. When the pilot has a heart attack and dies mid-flight, the plane crashes into a small lake in the middle of nowhere. Brian finds himself alive though, but all he has are the clothes that he's wearing and a hatchet, or like a small axe that his mother had given him right before he got on the plane as a gift. It will be up to him and his choices if he's going to survive in this wilderness against like the weather, animals, hunger, and more. You will be along for the heart-pounding journey as Brian learns how to survive on his own. And, you know, he just hopes to be rescued, but he doesn't even know if anyone's even looking for him. This book will leave you wondering, what would you do if you were in this situation? Again, this book is amazing. This is one of my middle grade favorites. Highly recommended. There are sequels to this one, but this one is just so good. This is Hatchet. So these are just 6 of the books that have won the Virginia Reader's Choice Award for their year. And again, remember, keep back, this started all the way back in 1981. So there are way more than just these 6. So we encourage you to either come on out and check out one of these if one has sparked your interest, or we will help you find those other winners that maybe will inspire you to read even more than these. I hope you tune in next week when we have a whole new middle grade book spotlight, and have a great week.